Welcome back everybody, I'm Zell, and today we're going to pit two knives against each other. The Spyderco Delica 4 FRN Lightweight and the Byrd Meadowlark 2 FRN. Both designs from Spyderco, one with the mothership's logo on it, and one with the Byrd logo on it, a subsidiary of Spyderco. Similar in design, and similar in use, even similar in handling. But there are differences. First up, why don't you come on in here a little closer and we'll take a close look at the differences between the two knives. With the Byrd Meadowlark 2 and the Spyderco Delica 4 lightweight here side by side, we can see that they're pretty similar. We have bidirectional texturing here. Spyderco's little squares in a circular pattern works well. Byrd's is just these little dots, no real pattern to them, but they are also set up in a bidirectional manner and work pretty much just as well. They also advertise themselves right there in the center of the knife with the Byrd Meadowlark 2 and the Spyderco Delica 4 with the Spyderco logo there in the middle. Where we start to get into some differences are the handles. On the Meadowlark 2, the handle is a little over 1/4 of an inch shorter. It's pretty obvious there with the camera's view that it is a little bit shorter. And also, the Meadowlark 2, all the way around the edge, it's not exactly squared off. It is rounded some, but it's not as well rounded as the Delica. The Delica's got a nice round shape. May make a difference to some of you. Also, the hardware. The camera picks this up fairly well. The Delica 4 has nice, bright, shiny, near chrome hardware. The Meadowlark 2 is a more satin look. As we roll them to the back, we can see that they are pretty much the same. Now the jimping right down through here on the Delica is cut a little fancier than it is on the Meadowlark, and that's going to be consistent throughout the two knives. Everything's going to be a little nicer on the Delica 4. And on over to this side, we have pretty much the exact same pocket clip, and both those pocket clips can be moved on either side of the knife for tip up or tip down carry, blade forward, blade back, whatever your thing is. And they're both constructed with Torx head screws all around. One last major difference to note while they're closed is that the Byrd knife has what they call a comet-shaped hole. It's about the same size as the round hole in the Spyderco knife, and in my experience works just about the same. When we open up the two knives, there again, they're very, very similar. You can see that there are some different shapes here to the handle. Similar, but when we get up here around the pivot, the Byrd knife has this nice choil for your finger. And I say it's a nice choil because usually those forward finger choils on knives, I'm not a huge fan of. However, with the Byrd knife, you get the forward finger choil. However, you do not lose any blade length over the Delica. The Delica and the Meadowlark 2 have almost exactly the same blade length and almost exactly the same cutting edge. Now, another difference we can see is the thumb ramps on the back of the blades are a little different. It's a more severe rise here on the Spyderco and a little more gentle on the Byrd knife. In my experience, it didn't really matter much. They were both very effective. The jimping on the back of the blade here on the thumb ramp on each knife for both knives is cut pretty clean. The Spyderco is slightly more aggressive and slightly cleaner cut than the Byrd knife. But all in all, it's a good job on both of them. Before we kick it back out to the desk, here's a shot of both knives in hand. And you have the forward finger choil here on the Byrd Meadowlark 2. And if necessary, you could kind of create one on the Delica, but it's not designed to be held that way. As you saw, guys, there's not really a whole lot of difference between these two knives, the Delica 4 and the Meadowlark 2. The biggest difference in just putting the knife in your hand is that forward finger choil that the Meadowlark 2 has. Otherwise, they feel pretty close to the same in hand. The rounded edges around the FRN here on the Delica 4 feel a little nicer in hand than the more squared off edges on the Meadowlark 2. Other than that, they're very, very similar in hand. But as you know, there's a price difference. The Delica 4 runs low 50s up into the higher 60s depending on which model you get. The plain black one, of course, is the cheapest. This orange one is running about $60. The Meadowlark 2 currently only comes in black, and it is right around 20 bucks. So what are you getting for your extra $40 or so with the Delica 4? You're getting more attention to detail and design. As we talked about, the jimping's a little nicer. You have those rounded edges on the FRN. The bidirectional texturing has a better look to it. And the big thing you're buying is VG10 for the blade steel. VG10's a very good steel. It's not a super steel, but it's a good everyday steel. Holds an edge pretty decently, much better than what your 8CR13 MOV will in the Meadowlark 2. And that's the design, and that blade steel is where your money's going. However, the 8CR13 MOV in the Byrd Meadowlark 2 is not bad steel. This stuff has actually proven itself to be pretty good everyday steel for a blade. So guys, it really comes down to your budget. If you can afford the Delica 4, you're getting your money's worth. If you can't, you're getting more than your money's worth in the Meadowlark 2 at $20. It also may come down to what you do with your knives. In an everyday carry situation, if my budget allows, I would have the Delica. It's just not going to have to sharpen it as often, and you don't have to be concerned at all about the build quality. Everything I've gotten from Spyderco in this line of knives has always been very good. However, the Meadowlark 2 is going to serve you and punch well above its $20 price tag. So if you can't afford the Delica 4, don't feel bad about getting a Meadowlark 2. You're getting a great knife for the money. And there are a couple of places where this Meadowlark 2 may work out really well. If a knife is required in your job and you don't have the budget for some really high-end stuff, Meadowlark 2, you can have 2 or 3 of them if you've got a place to stash them, bag in your vehicle, whatever. And if you don't mind putting in the work to keep them sharp, you break one, it goes dull on you, whatever, you could have a backup for only 20 bucks. And I think that right there really is the beauty of the Meadowlark 2 for those of us here in the United States where the knife is considered relatively cheap. For the price of a Delica, you could have about 3 of these. With these two knives, I really think it comes down to what you're going to use a knife for and your budget. If you can afford the Delica 4, it's a great knife. You're not going to be disappointed in it. However, if the Delica 4 is outside of what you want to spend on a knife, the Meadowlark 2 is a very close first runner-up. Build quality was pretty darn good for a $20 knife, and it punches way above its weight there. If you go back to my review of the Meadowlark 2, I did have some problems with the pivot. It was a little gritty, But I worked that out, and the knife works great. The other thing is the 8CR13 MOV blade. You're going to have to sharpen it more often. But overall, it's not a knife you're going to be disappointed in. And at $20, I don't think you can go wrong. However, this is a heads up, deathmatch battle type thing, and the Delica 4 does edge it out. If the funds are there, the Delica 4 is a better knife. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. If you click that like or share button down there, that'd be great. You might want to click that subscribe button because we've got a lot more in store, a lot more stuff in the pipeline. You know, we've got some stuff from Buck, we have some more stuff from Spyderco, and so on. And we got some firearms videos coming up, and we may even shoot a cannon. Anyhow, guys, you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.